Bill Monroe is the father of bluegrass. I'd like to know what it's like to be called that for you.
Well, it gives me a really great feeling to know that I've really done something good with what I started out with. I wanted the music of my own, and so it really went ahead and really went places, and I'm really proud of the music, bluegrass music.
You've really brought a lot of class to the music. You've got a lot of style that a lot of people look up to. How long do you think you can keep going?
Well, back in the spring, you know, my health was pretty poorly, but I'm feeling a lot better now, and I want to continue on and play to my fans and friends all over the country and get to shake hands with them, speak to them, you know, at least once a year if I can.
Well, that's real good. Can you tell us a little bit about your mandolin? It's the most famous mandolin in the world. And I know there was a lot of news when you had the inlay done on it and a few other things.
Well, this mandolin was made back in 1923, and I found it in a barber shop in Miami, Florida, and I believe I paid $150 for it.
When did you find it?
In 1941. And it's really been a wonderful mandolin. Back in the early days, it was really fine, but it's really it's held up awful good. It's getting thin right here, but it's still holding up good, sounds good, and got a lot of volume to it. And the people all know it all over the country, and I'm going to hold on to it.
I'd like to ask you a little bit about your new album, because there's a song on there that I especially fell in love with. I'm from New York, and to me, bluegrass music was always something a little bit unreachable. But when I came out to the mountain areas, and one of the first things I heard, old Ray Sloan in Hindman, Kentucky, played me that album. And it was the solo mandolin with the cellos. It was something very, very different to me. I'd like you to tell us the title and a little bit about it, how you wrote it.
Well, one morning along about 2 o'clock, I couldn't sleep, and it was really awful cold. And so I thought I would just take my mandolin and see if I could come up with a different tune that nobody had ever had, and I had never had it either. So I come up with it, and it's tuned in C-sharp minor, and so I went to trying to play some number, and just a number like Mule Skinner, Blue Moon wouldn't work on this tune at all. So I went to kind of feel it out, and this number that I wrote just fit right in, just kind of wrote itself with the tuning and everything. And the title of the number is My Last Days on Earth. And it's really done awful good. They played it all over the country. And
it's a beautiful song.
And I really love the number. And it's a different kind of a mandolin from what I played with bluegrass, a different tuning and everything. But people, they love the number.
What gave you the idea for the title?
Well, the number is so sad, and it's six, I believe, about 6 different positions you play it in, and it seems like as it starts, it keeps coming around, you know, and it keeps telling the story, so everything is different about it. And so it comes on around, you know, to the last 4 beats on it, is the heartbeat, you know, it comes right down to that, and so it really tells a story if you listen to it close.
Pretty story. You've known Ralph Stanley for 25 years or so, playing with him. What do you think of this banjo picker?
Oh, I think he's a fine banjo. One thing about Ralph Stanley, he's a gentleman, and he's got a good voice, but he's kept that banjo right down where I've always thought it should be. Nice and clean, separate the notes, and let the banjo ring. And that's a lot of banjo players don't think that needs to be done, but I think it does. And I'm glad that Ralph plays it that way.
Ralph, how do you like playing with well, let me ask it this way, how does the doctor feel when he's playing with the father?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been listening to Bill Monroe, I guess, 40 years, ever since I was a small boy. And Bill's always been my favorite, and as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to speak for my brother Carter, who passed away in 1966, he worshiped Bill Monroe. And I think when it comes to playing the old-time music, he's the greatest that ever has been, ever lived, and there'll never be no one that will replace Bill Monroe.
What is the your most favorite song that Bill has done?
Well, as I talked to you a while ago, I couldn't give you a favorite of ours, and I can't give you a favorite of Bill's because I like all of them.
That's a compliment to have. You know, Bill, there is one question that I'd like to ask you. Blue Moon of Kentucky, when did you write that?
I believe about 1946, right in there.
That's a mighty popular tune around here.
We went a long ways, and I don't know, we recorded around 60 times.
Yeah.
60 different artists.
Do you have a personal favorite?
I'd say Blue Moon probably would be my favorite. Uncle Pen, numbers like that. But Ralph has got so many good ones. I don't think I could pick the one, you know. They're all good, and I like them all.
You know, I've got you two here, and you never know when our twain shall meet again. But while I've got you right now, I'd like to ask you a question. Where do you think bluegrass is heading right now? Let me ask that of Ralph first.
Well, bluegrass, I think, it really is about 1965, I believe, was the first festival, which wasn't too much of a success, but 1966, it started growing, and it has grown in leaps and bounds since. And I don't think bluegrass has really reached its peak yet, and I believe it's going to still grow and grow. As long, I think, as Bill Monroe and me wants to play it. Now, there's a lot of bluegrass. Maybe I'm a little bit plainer on a lot of that stuff than Bill is. I don't know, but there's a lot of what they call bluegrass I don't approve of. But I think as long as people like Bill Monroe and me stay around, he'll keep climbing.
You keep the things in tow while you set
and
the pace.
as far as everything looks right now, I believe we'll both be around a long time.
Well, I sure do hope so. Bill Monroe, you've done a lot yourself to really set the motion of bluegrass and its direction. You're doing something a little bit different now with your new album. What do you think that's going to do to bluegrass?
Well, I think it'll help it. I think it seems like all the young people like it, and I think it's going to help every man of them on that new album. Master Bluegrass is different. The ones they're all competition with the other one. We was talking about excuse me, Ralph. You mentioned festivals, and your festival starts on what day?
It starts on May the 27th this next year through May the 30th.
Well, the one over at Bean Blossom, Indiana, the Bean Blossom Festival, I believe it starts on 11th and goes through the 19th of June. So, and there's two wonderful